I'm so excited about the topic. I'm so excited. One of my gifts in life is that I just show my excitement freely, and I'm just totally gonna show it right now because I'm so excited. The topic that I'm going to be talking about today has been so transformative in my life, in being able to love myself more and to be able to extend love more freely to other people. This has just been incredible, and I'm just so excited to talk about it and share it so that you can use it in your life and experience those same blessings and empower the world through love. So, what is this skill? This is the skill of reframing our perceived weaknesses. Now, if I asked you right now to give me a list of all of your strengths and all of your weaknesses, you'd probably be able to give me a long list. Odds are your weaknesses would be more than your strengths. If you want to pause the video right now and try it, go ahead, pause it and write me a list of your strengths and your weaknesses. Go ahead, give it a go. Why not? Why not? 10 seconds, 1 minute, why not? All right, so whether or not you went through that exercise, we're gonna keep moving forward. But lots of times, for one, we separate them in our mind. There are weaknesses and there are strengths. There are bad things and there are good things. There are things we like about ourselves and there are things we don't like about ourselves, right? There are things that we're proud of and there are things that we want to hide from other people. These are all different ways of saying the same thing. And our weaknesses tends to be a longer list. We tend to do that to ourselves, unfortunately, but we do. But we're gonna work on that today, which is gonna be great. So this skill is that all of your weaknesses can be seen as strengths. I'm going to say that again. Every weakness that you perceive in yourself can be seen as a strength. Now you're thinking, how? How could that be the case? Well, it's going to take some mental shifting because we don't tend to think this way. And even if we start to, sometimes we become a little afraid. We get afraid, no, life isn't supposed to be that easy. We're not supposed to be that positive. We're lying to ourselves, and we're gonna end up making bad decisions based on that. We're not. We make better decisions. We are happier and more empowered when we embrace every part of ourselves and when we love it. When we love every part of ourselves, we are so much more empowered to be the people we want to be and to live the life we want to live. Now, you might notice that I said your perceived weaknesses or your perceived imperfections. That's because these things are subject to our perception, right? Now, someone might have an attribute. Someone else could look at that attribute and say, that's a terrible attribute, what a weakness. Someone else could look at that exact same attribute through a different lens or from a different angle and say, that is such a skill. That is such a strength. That is such amazing character. Now, how do we do this for ourselves? Here, let me give you a couple of examples. So one in me, I was told a lot growing up that I was too sensitive, that I was too emotionally sensitive. I was too emotional. Consequently, I grew up thinking I needed to change this about myself. I thought I needed to harden myself. I thought I needed to become, stronger, and I needed to be able to not be so emotional about things. I needed to be very logical about stuff. And I tried that for a long time, and you know what it did? Nothing helpful. It did nothing helpful. All it did was make me feel worse because it wasn't authentic to who I truly was. Now, at that point, I could have just been like, yeah, I just suck at this, and that's just how it is. And sometimes we have a tendency to do that. But is that empowering? Of course not. But instead, I had the option to reframe. Now let's look at this attribute. Let's look at it from the perspective of weakness. I'm too sensitive. I'm too emotional. Let's flip that and reframe it to be a strength. I live with my whole heart. I am willing to be vulnerable in every situation. The exact same attribute, just seen from different sides. Now, for me personally, that is who I am. I live with my whole heart. I show my emotion, and that has been such a blessing in my life and such a way for me to genuinely connect with other people. And I'm so grateful for that attribute that I have and that I've had since I was a child. Now let's look at a couple more. So you can see this a lot with your children. We tend to label our children in negative ways, or our spouse, our friends, our colleagues. We tend to label them in negative ways. So I remember when my oldest was young thinking, she is so stubborn. She's so stubborn. That's a very negative attribute in our society. Stubbornness, it's just negative. Hard-headedness, it's negative. I realized really quickly that was damaging to our relationship because she performed according to how I viewed her. I'm going to have a totally different video just on that idea alone. But let's look at this. Stubborn. She's stubborn. Now let's reframe it. She is aware of her personal convictions and she's not going to give in to someone else's. What an incredible attribute. To be so aware of your own convictions, even from a young age, and to have the strength of character and the confidence to not give in because someone else is telling you you should see things the way they do. The exact same attribute from a different angle. When I started viewing her in that way, it was incredible for our relationship. Incredible. I learned so much about her through that. And she was able to use that attribute in such a positive way. That's one of the beauties of reframing, is that even our actions can change once we reframe, because we are living now from a place of confidence and self-love rather than self-denial, self-consciousness, or even a self-loathing in some extreme circumstances, okay? So let's look at a few other attributes. What about always running late? They run late all the time. They're disorganized. Okay, disorganized. What if we reframe that? They have a flow that they follow, and the flow is more important than all the activities. Could that be seen from that vantage point? Absolutely. Absolutely it could. Okay, how about, let's think of another one. How about even one of, they get angry easily. They have a short temper. What if we reframe that, okay? And I'm not saying reframe to excuse damaging behaviors. I'm saying find a way to turn it into a positive. Now, if you look at anger, where is anger coming from? A lot of the times, anger is masking a deeper emotion. So, what about just they're willing to show their emotion? What about that? What about coming at it from that angle and then working on it, rather than immediately putting down a wall of, you have this negative thing about yourself, or I have this negative thing about myself. So do you see how you can reframe these things? And there are a lot of different examples. And honestly, I'm not going to be able to pull them all out of the air right now. But these are just a few examples, and try it for yourself. Try writing down the things that you see as negative in yourself and reframing them to be a positive thing. Try it and see how empowering it is, because I promise you, you will leave that exercise loving yourself way more, offering yourself way more grace, and being empowered through love. That's what it's all about. So give it a try. Go ahead and like this video. Share it with those you love who you think could really benefit from it. And please subscribe for future videos.